More than 100 Palestinians have been killed while waiting for food aid in Gaza City. These images are from that attack in the southwest of the city. A journalist told the BBC that Israeli tanks opened fire on a crowd who'd come to collect supplies. A large number of people had been gathered waiting for food when the incident happened. The Israeli military issued these aerial pictures of the incident. It says dozens of Gazans were crushed and trampled as they surrounded the aid trucks. Separately, an Israeli source confirmed its troops had fired after feeling threatened by the crowds near the aid point. Let's have a listen to that statement from the Israeli Prime Minister's office.
The trucks were overwhelmed, and the people driving the trucks, which were Gazan civilian drivers, ploughed into the crowds of people, ultimately killing, my understanding is, tens of people.
Now let's have a listen to an account from a Palestinian who was there.
After they stopped shooting, we went back to get our aid. By the time I got flour and some canned goods and took it down from the truck, they shot at us. They shot me and the truck driver left and ran over my leg. I lost my nerves. If you want to get us aid this way, then you might as well not bring anything. What has already happened to us is more than enough. We went to get flour for children. We have been eating animal feed for 2 months and even that ran out. What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go?
Now this all comes as we've received the latest figures on the numbers of Palestinians killed in Gaza since October. Now, more than 30,000 people have been killed in the territory, according to figures from the Hamas-run health ministry there. Now, this graph from the BBC Verify team charts the rising number of people killed in Gaza from Israeli strikes, which were sparked by the Hamas attacks on southern Israel on the 7th of October. Now, it shows the majority of those killed in Gaza are women and children, and the number of children killed so far stands at 21,000. Well, for more on all of the day's developments, we can go straight to Jerusalem and join our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams, who is there for us. Paul, tell us more, first of all, about what we know happened when those Palestinians were gathering to receive food aid.
Well, one thing I can tell you, Regina, is that account that you heard, that brief account from an Israeli spokesman, doesn't really begin to describe what actually happened. Nor, by the way, were these people waiting for food aid. This was a convoy driving into Gaza City at 4 a.m. in the dark. It had just passed an Israeli checkpoint when crowds began to descend on the trucks in scenes that we have seen already many times before. Remember that the situation in the northern part of the Gaza Strip is by far the worst. People are utterly desperate. Any trucks that arrive there with aid, and very, very few do, immediately get mobbed. Now, this was a convoy of anywhere between 18 and 30 trucks. It had passed through the checkpoint, the Israeli checkpoint, and at some point, while the crowds were swarming onto the trucks, some of those people approached to within around 70 meters of the Israeli checkpoint. The soldiers there felt that they were in some danger. They fired shots in the air, according to the IDF, and then at the crowd in what an Israeli military spokesman described as a limited response. The impression we get, having listened to what the IDF says and heard from an eyewitness, a Palestinian eyewitness who was there, was that utter panic ensued. And the pictures that have been released by the IDF this morning, shot from the air at night, show the trucks attempting to move forward while absolutely covered in people trying to retrieve aid, with thousands of people surrounding them. And in that mayhem, it seems, a significant number of people were run over. Our Palestinian source tells us that most of the people who died, we think around 104, were killed because they were run over by the trucks, not because of the Israeli shooting. But the shooting does seem to have contributed to the absolute panic.
I mean, yeah, the circumstances sound really tragic, whatever we know so far on what happened, Paul. And I'm just reading on Reuters that a UN aid chief has said that they are appalled at the reported killings and injuries during the transfer of aid supplies in Gaza City. Is there any more reaction that we've had?
No, I think everyone is still looking at it, trying to figure out exactly what happened. The Israelis, they're saying, you need to look hard at this, listen to what we're saying. We don't want to have a repeat of some of the mistakes that they say the media have made in certain key episodes in the past. All I would say is that anyone who has access to Twitter can go, or X should I say, can go on the IDF's feed and look at that footage shot in the dark early this morning. It is utterly, utterly gobsmacking. The sheer size of the crowd, the fact that the trucks are all completely covered with people trying to retrieve aid and that they are moving forward. It gives me one of the most dramatically vivid accounts of the desperation of the northern Gaza Strip that I have seen so far. And you don't even see anyone's faces.
OK, Paul Adams, thank you so much for bringing us more details on that developing story on the ground. Thank you very much.